Finally revealed. That's how fans felt when Alan Kennedy opened up on Rumours at 70. But to understand why it matters, we need to go back to where it all began. Picture this: August 1978, Anfield. Liverpool had just spent a British record fee for a full-back, £330,000 for a lad from Newcastle who was supposed to slot right into their machine. But Alan Kennedy's debut was nothing short of a nightmare. Within minutes, he miskicked with his right foot and knocked a policeman's helmet clean off. He gave away corners, made basic errors, and looked completely out of his depth. At half-time, slumped and defeated, Kennedy faced his new manager, Bob Paisley. With his trademark dry wit, Paisley delivered a line that would haunt and motivate Kennedy forever. "I think they shot the wrong Kennedy." Kennedy later admitted he felt like a fraud. Here he was, playing for the best team in Europe, and he couldn't even get through his first match without embarrassing himself. The Anfield dressing room was ruthless with mistakes. This wasn't a place for passengers or sympathy. You either delivered or you were gone. But something clicked in the second half. Paisley had told him to relax, keep his passes short, and play to his strengths. Kennedy listened. He simplified his game and started to show glimpses of what Liverpool had paid for. The problem was adapting from Newcastle's direct style to Liverpool's intricate possession-based system, where passes rarely travelled more than 10 yards. The truth was, Kennedy wasn't your typical fullback. He was predominantly one-footed, sometimes ungainly, and far from the most technical player on the pitch. But he had blistering pace and a determination that couldn't be coached. More importantly, he had something that would define his entire career: an uncanny ability to deliver when everything was on the line. His first season ended with a league title. Not bad for someone who'd knocked off a policeman's hat on his debut, but Kennedy was just getting started. What happened next would cement his place in football folklore forever. May 27th, 1981. Parc des Princes, Paris. Liverpool versus Real Madrid in the European Cup final. The match was tight, caggy, with both teams struggling on a pitch that had hosted rugby just weeks before. The grass was uneven, conditions were difficult, and time was running out. Then, in the 81st minute, Kennedy collected a throw-in from Ray Kennedy, no relation, and embarked on a run that would define his career. He surged up the left flank, catching Real Madrid's defence off guard. Defender Rafael Garcia Cortez couldn't keep up. Kennedy struck the ball with his favoured left foot and watched as Real's goalkeeper, Agustin, moved the wrong way. Goal. Liverpool 1, Real Madrid 0. European champions. Kennedy later described that moment not as luck, but as an act of courage and a prize for persistence. He'd delivered when his team needed him most, but this was just the beginning of something extraordinary. 3 years later, Rome. May 30th, 1984. Liverpool faced Roma in their own backyard, the Stadio Olimpico, in another European Cup final. The atmosphere was hostile, the pressure immense. The match ended 1-1 after extra time, meaning penalties would decide Europe's greatest prize. Liverpool goalkeeper Bruce Grobbelaar famously wobbled his legs to distract Roma's penalty takers. Francesco Graziani missed, giving Liverpool the advantage. Then it was Kennedy's turn. The fifth penalty, the decisive one. Manager Joe Fagan simply asked if he was okay. Kennedy nodded, not fully grasping the weight of the moment. His teammates watched in disbelief. Alan Hansen and others reportedly thought he's never going to score. The odds seemed stacked against him, but Kennedy had planned his approach. He'd originally intended to shoot left, then changed his mind during his run-up. The ball flew to the goalkeeper's right. Tancredi dived the wrong way. Goal. Liverpool had conquered Europe again. His planned celebration, a cartwheel or somersault, was abandoned in the euphoria. Instead, he ran and ran, eventually jumping in the air like a madman. His teammates' shock said everything. Even they couldn't believe he'd done it. These weren't isolated incidents. Kennedy had a knack for scoring crucial goals in domestic competitions too. In the 1981 League Cup final against West Ham, he scored the equaliser in a match Liverpool eventually won in the replay. 2 years later, against Manchester United in another League Cup final, he repeated the feat, scoring the equaliser in a game Liverpool won in extra time. A pattern was emerging. When the stakes were highest, when the pressure was most intense, Kennedy found a way to deliver. It didn't matter that his teammates sometimes joked about his passing or that opposition fans mocked his style. When it counted, he was there. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Kennedy was often called Liverpool's weak link. His right foot, he freely admitted, was only there to stand on. Ray Kennedy, his namesake and teammate, once joked, "You'd go short and he'd hit it long. You'd go long and he'd hit it short." When people asked which Kennedy I was, I'd say the intelligent one. Alan Hansen added, "That was the beauty of playing with Alan. You never knew where he was going to be." While this sounded like criticism, it actually became a tactical advantage. Opponents couldn't predict his runs because even his teammates couldn't. This unpredictability created unexpected attacking channels and disrupted defensive structures. Fans adored this honesty. Kennedy looked and played like an everyman who'd somehow found himself among football gods. His ungainly style earned him the nickname Barney Rubble, after the Flintstones character. But supporters connected with his humanity, his self-deprecating humour, and his refusal to give up. He wasn't perfect or polished. He didn't glide across the pitch like some players, but he had something magical. The ability to produce moments of brilliance when they mattered most. In an era of technical perfection, Kennedy proved that heart, determination and timing could be just as valuable. Bob Paisley had recognised Kennedy's attacking potential from the start. This was ahead of its time when most fullbacks were primarily defensive players. Kennedy thrived on overlapping runs down the left flank, creating width and providing an extra attacking dimension. During his 8 years at Liverpool, Kennedy collected an impressive haul of trophies: 5 First Division titles, 4 League Cups, 2 European Cups and 3 Charity Shields. In the historic 1983-84 treble season, he was one of only 4 Liverpool players to feature in every single game across all competitions, 67 appearances in total. This durability was remarkable considering the physical demands of his attacking style. Kennedy made 359 appearances for Liverpool across all competitions, scoring 20 goals. For a defender, these numbers represented serious longevity and consistency at the highest level. When Kennedy left Liverpool in 1985, his journey was far from over. He moved to Sunderland, then embarked on what he called his journeyman years. Belgium, Denmark, Wigan, Hartlepool, and numerous non-league clubs followed. He even played his 500th career match at Wrexham, eventually retiring in 1994 at the age of 40. This extended career spoke volumes about his love for football. While many players retire after their peak, Kennedy continued playing because he genuinely loved the game. It wasn't about money or glory. It was about the joy of competing and contributing. His international career remains a source of frustration for fans. Despite his success at Liverpool, Kennedy earned just 2 England caps, both in 1984 during the final home international championship. Arsenal's Kenny Sansom held an almost unbreakable grip on the left-back position throughout Kennedy's peak years. Today, Kennedy remains connected to Liverpool as a club ambassador, media personality, and after-dinner speaker. His message to new Liverpool players is simple but powerful. If you're not a winner, don't bother coming to Liverpool. That's what the club is made of. This philosophy reflects everything Kennedy represented during his playing days. He wasn't the most talented, but he embodied the winning mentality that defined Liverpool's golden era. His inclusion in the 2006 list of 100 players who shook the Kop confirms his enduring place in the club's history. Kennedy's story challenges conventional ideas about what makes a legend. He proved that greatness isn't just about consistent brilliance or technical perfection. Sometimes it's about showing up when everything is on the line, delivering under impossible pressure, and never losing faith in yourself even when others doubt you. At 70, when Kennedy reflects on those rumours about being out of his depth, he can point to 2 European Cup winners' medals and a trophy cabinet that most players can only dream of. He may have knocked off a policeman's hat on his debut, but he knocked out Europe's best when it mattered most.